Boys and girls, cats and squirrels, today I'm going to be ranking every single COD Zombies perk because Black Ops 6 is coming out with brand new perks such as Melee Macchiato and potentially more. So I want to make a tier list before all this comes out so you guys know the correct ranking of every perk ever. So leave a like, sub, and comment down below because I know you'll enjoy the video, and tell me what is my best and worst perk ranking in this entire ranking. So let's start off with a solid D tier for Bandolier Bandit. It's just mid. I don't know. I could put it C, but I feel like that's just being too, like, you know, too much leeway for the perk. Because it's ammo. I don't know. Like, when would you ever run this as your modifier perk in BO4? That's right. Literally never. So, I mean, I could put it C. It's not the worst perk in the world, but I think it's a solid D tier to start off with. Now, Blaze Phase. For a second, I thought this was Slider. No, this is going to go... I'm going to put it F. I could put Blaze Phase D because I know there's, like, niche uses for it, but that's even, like, worse than Bandolier Bandit. It has to be worse than Bandit because when will crouching and then running or whatever the heck it does, I don't even really know what it does. You like crouch and build up some stuff and then go forward essentially in really fast. It's not good. I've almost never used it. That's how bad it is because I've done almost every single BO4 Easter egg. If I've never touched this perk, yeah, it's pretty bad. The only ones I haven't done, you know, Classified and Blood of the Dead. So I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be F tier. Now, Luna, aka Blood Wolf Bite, I think this is an easy C tier. Obviously, Luna can be annoying at times. The dog is just the best, though. It's your friendly neighborhood dog that just helps you eliminate zombies. Doesn't do anything else. But you have to get a certain amount of damage to activate it, and then it goes on cooldown. It's much more important than just having more ammo, in my opinion. I'd rather have a fun companion than extra ammo if I had an extra perk slot, but I wouldn't run any of these three in my normal perks as is. Now, we have Deadshot, not from Cold War. This is going F tier. It's useless. It's basically the most useless perk of all time. Unless you're on controller, then it's maybe not as bad as some things, because it is a little useful on controller, you know, but it's not like Cold War snap into the head type of easy headshots, turn your brain off stuff that Deadshot Daiquiri in Cold War is. Which leads us to Deadshot Daiquiri in Cold War, which I think it's an easy A tier. This perk had probably the greatest glow up of any perk ever, other than maybe Double Tap, because from going from the worst perk potentially ever to one of the greatest of all time, just being able to turn your brain off, hit right click or left trigger, and just snap to the head, insta critical kills, instantly more points, instantly more damage because you're hitting them more, you're doing more damage because of the tier 5s and everything. The whole tier system makes this a busted perk. Deadshot Daiquiri, easy A tier. Now we have Cold War's Depth Perception. I don't think it's different enough from BO4's Depth Perception for me to put them any differently, although if I'm ranking them like this, like, you know, left to right, left being the best, right being the worst, I think it goes C tier. Seeing zombies through walls is cool and all, but once you get a high enough round, you're probably either camping or you're training, and so it's nice, but you're looking at the zombies head on more than likely, so it doesn't really do anything. Cold War is really nice to have the extra salvage, but it also just makes it really unappealing to look at your scoreboard because you have like 20 salvage and it looks really bad, which is a niche downside, but at the same time, I'm taking that into account here. I'm putting it C tier. Would I rather have Blood Wolf Bite than Depth Perception? Yeah, I probably would. Bandolier Bandit or Depth Perception, I'd probably rather see enemies through walls. I'm going to be honest. I don't care about ammo. I'll figure out some new way to get it. Now, Double Tap 1 and Double Tap 2. Double Tap 2 is an easy S tier. I think that's the simplest, other than Juggernog probably, to put where I'm going to put it. Double tap 1.0, it's a D tier. I think it's less useful even than just having extra ammo, because it like makes your ammo go down over time due to like having the faster fire rate, I believe, but not having more damage, and you like shoot 2 bullets instead of 1. It's really bad, but it's not as bad as Deadshot from BO1 or BO2 or BO3 even. Deadshot should never have existed as a perk like it was. Double tap, it served its purpose okay, but when Double Tap 2 came out, the extra damage, the extra, fire rate, all that stuff, what are you buying for your 4 perks? Speed Cola, Double Tap, Juggernog, and then potentially Stamina Up or Quick Revive, depending on if you're in solo or public / with friends. And that leads us to Dying Wish. Death Perception is stuck in my brain. Dying Wish, I think it's got to be S tier. It's just busted. The cooldown almost makes it A tier because the cooldown's really long and it's pretty. I'm gonna put it A tier. I'm gonna put it probably the highest A tier. Having the long cooldown after being able to be invincible for like a long amount of time before dying is a little bit too much to put it S tier. That cooldown, I don't even know how long it is, and it's 4,000 points and like 5,000 even. Maybe even 6,000 if it's in your modifier perk. So it's as much as a Pack-a-Punch weapon. But on BO4, you probably would rather have Dying Wish than a Pack-a-Punch weapon, because most packed weapons are dog water. They don't do anything for you. But Dying Wish saves you before you die. You get to just pull out your wonder weapon, your Helion Salvo, your specialist to get you out of the situation you got yourself cornered in, and then reset without actually losing. But I think the cooldown and the price early game makes it hard to get, so I'll put it at A instead of S. Electric Cherry, I think is a solid B tier. It can screw you at times when you're trying to hold last zombie and you have it, but it's a really fun perk just to use. It's really helpful if you get cornered, because it can stun the zombies and allow you to just kind of get out of a tight situation. But Electric Cherry doesn't actually modify your weapon or anything other than reloading. It's a niche perk, but it does its job perfectly, which is the definition of a B tier perk. It's not just mid, it's a little better, but it's not like A tier, S tier type really good. Which, Elemental Pop, arguably, I don't know if I should put it A or B tier. If you have it in Black Ops 3 customs, like if you have a modded, modded level, modded map, and you have Elemental Pop there, it's the most busted perk ever. Genuinely. They have to balance it by making it more expensive than even Dying Wish. But if you have it in Cold War, it's probably more of a B tier. I'll keep it high B tier because Elemental Pop, being able to just have Electric Cherry, essentially, but then it's better than Electric Cherry, having ammo mods spawn randomly. And on cooldown, you can have multiple ammo mods. You can have all the ammo mods going at once, like Cryo Freeze and Deadwire. You have a Deadwire weapon, a Cryo Freeze weapon. They go faster using those AATs. And also, you can get all of them at once. Like, you don't have to put them on specific weapons to get stuff. Ethereal Razor heads in the picture now. And I think it goes D tier, probably even behind Double Tap 1.0. It's basically Melee Macchiato, except like if you took performance dehancing drugs. Because holy crap, it doesn't do anything. It's just worthless. It's like Widow's Wine, except you don't get the Widow's Wine grenades. You don't get like anything else. It's that simple. It's just not good. Like extra melee damage is just not good. And I think there's some other stuff with it, but it's so niche of a perk and it does its job terribly. It's an easy D tier to me. Now Juggernog, I don't care, Cold War or BO3, they're both the GOATs. They are literally the definition of an S tier perk. Don't get me wrong, Double Tap is awesome, but having the extra HP is so useful in any situation. I understand Juggernog, it's getting glazed constantly. I'm going to glaze it some more. These are the same. They're equal to me. I don't know which one I'd rank more. Probably Juggernog from BO3/1/2/ whatever. Probably goes more ahead just because of having less hits due to a shield instead of armor. But, I mean, the Tier 5 system makes Juggernog and Cold War really good, too. Either way, they're the definition of the best perk in the game. You're always getting it. Now, Mule Kick. Mule Kick in Cold War is probably an A-tier perk. I'm going to be honest. Being able to get infinite ammo, essentially. 3 weapons. You can get your weapon back after you down. So if you have you can have the ray gun, the Ray K, and, the Howler or Gallo on Firebase C. Well, you can't have the ray gun, but, like, if you have it in Outbreak, and then you go down, your friend revives you, you pick Mule Kick back up, you have all 3 weapons again. Same Pack-a-Punch level, same everything, same rarity, everything. Don't have to worry about that ever again. But Mule Kick, normally, from BO1 through 3, and 4 even, I guess it's technically in. Well, I would say it's about a B tier. Not being able to get your weapon back is really annoying. My friend Mitch Milley, shout out to you, and I were playing Tog with another friend. I think it was Rebane, me, and Mitch were playing Tog der Toten. And Mitch used a perk up and got his extra perk as Mule Kick. But even if he had it in his normal slot, it wouldn't have mattered. Because he goes down by getting cornered with the Wonder Waff as his Mule Kick weapon, which he could have realized that, but at the same time, there's no way to get it back now that he's back up, and we have to spend 200,000 points to get it back. Having a third weapon is both a gift and a curse, and I would say it's probably, honestly, worse than Electric Cherry and Elemental, just due to those niche situations where you can get absolutely screwed. Now, PhD. PhD having the effects of no fall damage on stuff like Call of the Dead is really nice, but at the same time, it also is kind of weird. Like, I don't know if it serves its purpose too. Like, it's really good, but it's not like an S tier perk, PhD having no explosive damage, having no fall damage, anything like that, it's just perfect in what it does. It doesn't do anything too over the top. It doesn't do anything too far below the bar that it sets for itself. But Slider is probably between Mule Kick and Deadshot from Cold War. If we're counting, see, this doesn't have Cold War and BO4 Slider, but Cold War Slider might be one of the best perks of all time. It might be an S tier. But if we're also including BO4, I gotta knock it down into an A tier. Having that slide in Cold War where you just go across the map, just boom, is really nice. And no explosive damage in both is amazing. You need it for the Helion, you need it for the M79 strat in Cold War and BO4. But the slider effect in BO4 is really bad compared to Cold War. But now we get to Quick Revive. It's an easy S tier. I'll put Cold Wars ahead of normal. Actually, no, I'll put normal. They're about the same. You get an extra life. That simple. That's why BO1 through 3 is the best, probably. BO4's is interesting because I don't think you get to get revived because you have self-revives, but you get a lot of healing, which is instantly needed because of the way BO4 works. It just, you're overwhelmed by zombies, you need Quick Revive to heal yourself back up. It's essential, essentially. Funny sentence there, eh? And then Cold War, you can always revive yourself, and it's even easier if you get a pistol, such as the ray gun, to eliminate zombies while you're downed, to get yourself back up. Then you go buy Quick Revive. If you go down, you do the same thing, rinse and repeat. You almost never can die, even with self-revives. Like, you might never even have to use a self-revive, which they shouldn't be in the game in the first place, but having Quick Revive be that overpowered, and you can have Juggernog, Elemental, Deadshot, PhD, Mule Kick, all of them together, it's a little busted. Now, we go to Speed Cola. Cold War Speed Cola, I'm going to put in top of C tier. Can I? Yeah, top of C tier. Now, this may seem absurd, but the extra, like, reload speed in Cold War, it doesn't matter, I don't think. It's nice on the shotguns, but on every other weapon, you just run fast mags, and you're good. You have enough ammo, you can use your AATs, you can use PhD for your kills, you can use the score streaks, you can use just about anything else without having to worry about speed cola, speeding up your animations. Like, it's nice on the box, the way it works on the box is really good, but speed cola on, like, OG speed cola is, I'm gonna put it behind Dying Wish, but ahead of Deadshot. That feels right. It's not as good as Double Tap, where you're doing so much more damage and whatnot. It's not as good as Quick Revive, because that is essential to staying alive. It's not as good as Jug, because it's also essential to staying alive. But Speed Cola is probably the greatest quality of life perk ever added. You're just faster, essentially. Your animations go faster. Your reload goes extremely fast. Cold War lacked that. That's why I am not including it with the same, ranking. It's way worse. But BO1 through 3, the cola called Speed is obscenely good. Just being able to have faster animations is, like, faster reloads, everything. It's just perfect. It's so useful, especially if you're running stuff like LMGs. You're just never going to have to worry about getting cornered and running out of ammo, because you'll just reload fast enough. And combined with Electric Cherry, you're doing really good. Now, Stamina Up in Cold War, I'm going to put with PhD, because I think combined, these two are probably, I'm going to put it ahead. But these two combined are probably the greatest combination of perks ever. You're just running obscenely fast in Cold War, like, to the point where it's just not even, like, comprehensible how fast you're running. And then sliding across the map with that speed, and you're never having to worry about sprint to fire time or anything. Those two combined in Cold War, maybe the best perk combination ever. Now, Stamina Up normally, I think it's a high B tier. It's really useful, but it doesn't have the eliminate fall damage like Cold War, which PhD does. Probably makes PhD more essential on certain maps. Like Die Rise, you'd rather have PhD than Stamina Up. Even if you can get Stamina Up, you wish you had PhD. But, Stamina Up, it's a good consolation for not having everything, like, when you're playing with your wonder weapons and your friends, you're not going to worry about having Quick Revive, unless your friends are terrible. But Stamina Up is the perk you probably switch out with Quick Revive if you're running in older games, and so that's why it's not essential like the A and S tier perks, but it's still really good. Now, Stone Cold Stronghold, I'm going to put it above Ethereal Razor, because, like, I know Alpha Omega, you can camp with Stone Cold, Ballistic Knife, Electric Cherry, and get to around 100. That's the only time it's ever used, though. That's it. You camp, you're a bitch, that's it. Now, Time Slip is basically just Speed Cola in Cold War, if I'm going to be honest, especially if you have it as the modifier perk, but I think it's a little worse, because it's not all in one, whereas Speed Cola in Cold War is. It's not very good, but it's not like you'd be hindered too much if you ran it as a perk. It's not great, it's not terrible. Tombstone. In Cold War, sheesh, I don't know where to put this. Tombstone in any in any game except Cold War, F tier. No, it's not good. It's that simple. Best perk jingle of all time? Potentially. Good? No. Now, Tombstone in Cold War is weird because it's also in MWZ. I kind of don't like to talk about it. In MWZ, it's caused a lot of issues because of duplication glitches with it. Whereas in Cold War, I mean, like, it was kind of useful. I don't know. I would put it probably middle of D tier. Tortoise, I'm going to put in between Stamina Up and Elemental Pop. Victorious Tortoise, being able to essentially have Cold War Shield is really nice. Or Cold War Armor, rather. It's really nice, but you have to have your shield out. And like having the explosion can be detrimental at times, like if you're trying to hold last, but also get a new shield. But then again, you can just buy one. But, you know, it's interesting because it's extra shield, but also in a game like BO4, it's not really necessary. I would probably run it over time slip, but at the same time, time slip is just probably as useful at times. I'm gonna even bump it down in between elemental and electric because it's a 50-50. Sometimes it's good, sometimes you just like, it's not what I want right now. Now, Vulture's Aid. I think this perk, now hear me out on this one. I'm gonna put it top of B. I wanted to put it A, I'm gonna put it top of B. I think it's really good. Vulture's Aid is really good. Having just those drops on the ground that give you more ammo and points, it may not be a ton, but it adds up over time. Being able to see everything throughout the map is like the greatest quality of life perk ever. It almost feels like a modded perk at times because of that, but at the same time, Vulture's Aid is not as useful as PhD, almost ever. Just because having removed explosion damage, being able to run the ray gun without having to worry about that is far more important than a little bit of extra ammo or points. And that's that. Now, who's who? Who's who? This is a perk that was combined into Tombstone in Black Ops Cold War, and I'm going to put it right alongside Tombstone Soda in Black Ops 2, I think it was, that it was in. It's dog water. It's not worth it. Both of these were in 2, I believe. Neither of them are good. Neither of them should ever return in the state they were in. Now, Zombshell, I'm going to rank right now. This perk, I'll put it top of F. It's not good. I've never run it on purpose when I've got it. At times, it's been okay, but no, I'd rather have probably any of those perks that are in D in BO4. Now, by the way, real quick, look at this. Almost all the BO4 perks are C to F tier. That's how bad they were when they got rid of dumb perks, right? Stupid perks such as Juggernog, Double Tap, and Quick Revive. Oh wait, Quick Revive was in the game. Why wasn't Speed Cola? I don't know. Stamina Up was. Why was Mule Kick? Why were the good perks gone? And ruined. Now, hot take. Widow's Wine might be my favorite perk of all time. It rivals Jug for sure. I'm going to put it in between Double Tap and Jug. Out of respect to everyone, Juggernog is probably the best perk of all time. But a Widow's Wine, in my opinion, is... I like it better. I like being able to have the grenades that you also can just pick up off zombies that are, entrapped in spiders. Also, it basically gives you extra hits because the zombies, they get hit with the web. You can react, even if you didn't know they were there. Without having extra health, this is the one other perk that I'd want. If I can't have Jug, I want Widow's Wine. If I can't have Widow's Wine, I want Jug. That simple, that's that. Now, Winter's Wail, I'm going to put just below Dying Witch. I'd rather have Dying Witch than Winter's Wail, but both of these perks in Black Ops 4, they're the best 2 perks in the game. Other than maybe Quick Revive. Quick Revive it's up there in goated tier. All of them in BO4, not good. But Winter's Wail being able to essentially have Widow's Wine almost on steroids, but at the same time, worse, because in Black Ops 4, because, you almost have to run it, whereas in BO3, you can just have Widow's Wine for fun. You don't have to worry. You can have both of these instead of just having Widow's Wine. So, that's going to wrap it up for all today, folks. I hope you enjoyed my tier list of every single COD Zombies perk. I don't think this is too controversial. I think it's relatively okay. A lot of the perks in Cold War are up towards the top because they were really good. And a lot of the original perks are up towards the top as well because they were also really good. But BO4 suffered. And honestly, BO1 and 2 had some pretty bad new perk additions. But all in all, That's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, leave a like, sub, and comment down below. It's much appreciated and makes you a goat. Deuces.